In Ghana, a day hardly goes by without news of a road accident. Between 1991 and 2018, Ghana lost over 46,000 people to road crashes. Analysts say road accidents have become the leading cause of deaths amongst Ghanaians. These car crashes often come with multiple casualties and leave many more maimed for life. For the year 2019, the National Road Safety Authority says almost 14,000 motor accidents were reported, involving about 23,000 vehicles. From these figures, a little over 2,000 lives were lost and over 14,000 persons sustained various degrees of injuries. But these are not just mere numbers. They represent people who now have to spend the rest of their lives depending on others. They represent families who have now been plunged into poverty by the death of a breadwinner. It means hitherto able-bodied men and women who can no longer earn a living due to poor health. No one is safe, it seems, as the main means of transportation in Ghana is by road. With figures like these, whether one is traveling via a car or a motorbike, anything could happen. So much so that the major roads and highways within the country have become notorious for road crashes. One of which is the Kintampo-Techiman Road, which claimed 55 lives on March 22, 2019 alone. On that same day, another gory accident at a Kumfi off the Accra-Cape Coast Highway took the lives of 10 motorists after two buses collided. The country was outraged by the carnage on our roads.
There's no any emergency response. People have to cut through this using their cutlass. Others have to use their hands to cut through this. You can feel like nothing is working. Systems are not working. You understand? If it takes 2 hours for an ambulance to get on the scene, then you should know that the country is sick.
The government promised to do all it could in its power to control the spate of accidents.
My sympathies and condolences go to all the families and loved ones of the deceased. May the Almighty grant their souls peaceful rest. Last year, I set up an interministerial committee composed of the Minister for the Interior, the Minister for Roads and Highways, and the Minister for Transport to examine and propose measures to deal with the increased rate of road accidents in the country.
The figures recorded by the National Road Safety Authority for the year 2019 paint a picture of an increase in the number of cases recorded, vehicles involved and persons injured by 1.7%, 3.4% and 5.3% respectively compared to the same period in 2018. But with only 14 days into 2020, yet another accident at Dompoase off the Accra-Cape Coast Road, this time claiming 35 lives.
Trasi hapa trasi kupesi ebe aloko be 1 month ni so Stanbic na motor truck so dem take the trasi pa ti yesrede obo medina oba bibi kakra wo aha amahe wo speed no ho o sande se kan fita kwa de reba eyineni mo kaif mala street kalfi in kalba
24 hours later, the families of the victims who visited the Cape Coast Teaching Hospital to identify their loved ones could barely hold back their tears.
It's not going to be an easy task for me. I'm only praying for Allah guidance, protection, so that I can continue what she has left for me. It's not easy. For me, she's my husband, she's my life, she's my supporter. We are more or less like twins.
It's very painful, very good one. It's very kind. You give advice for doing something when it's wrong, correct you. Even less than a week ago, she just called me, questioning me about something I did, which is very wrong. So what they're telling me is, she's giving me 1 week. After 1 week, I should do the thing. Because, she will not be comfortable with me.
While these persons continue to mourn their dead in Cape Coast, disaster struck again, this time at Abrepo in the Ashanti region, leading to the death of a woman.
The woman is a car, or speed and or fairly break. To a free cemetery, one month. You do cemetery on a break in a pie. I mean, come me, your car with me. You know, I'm the car breaking up. It's no per se, or say, would you be see T. Johnson, nor the Yanitra. Are you summer honeymoon? It is 2 T. Johnson, that's why you're so 10 and Anna. And you can't top speed. So it was done in such a not said, and you can't even tell you. Tonight, you not track. Are you a crack? Bomoa can't treat you, sir. Yet, brah. Not good up. It is obvious a car on a speed woman of very bleak.
Per the National Road Safety Authority Act 2019, the authority must see to the reduction of road traffic crashes, fatalities and injuries, and ensure standards for road safety. I place the worrying trend at the foot of the authority.
In 9 out of 10 situations, you have surviving victims telling you what they observed on the trip, which they found to be unhealthy, but didn't have the courage to speak up against. So we've had time in the past to run a speak up campaign to bring the passengers onto the front line of safety enforcement. So as a passenger, that is your responsibility. The guy has a duty to take you to your destination in good and in safe conditions. So if you observe any misconduct, misbehavior, he's on the phone, he's speeding, he's attempting to overtake, driving at night at high speed, it doesn't pay to be quiet.
However, current trends show that by 2030, road traffic injuries will become the 7th leading cause of death globally. But despite the immense danger associated with road travel, majority of Ghanaians have been virtually left with no alternative. The country's rail sector continues to lag, with air travel still seen as a luxury. While the situation continues, the rate of crashes continues to surge, often involving commercial vehicles. Out of the almost 23,000 vehicles involved in accidents in 2019, a little over 8,400 were commercial. This places more lives at risk as commercial vehicles and buses carry more passengers and records more casualties in the case of a crash. This is why the National Road Safety Authority says it will begin to regulate the activities of private transport companies to ensure they comply with road safety standards.
The law now mandates the authority to regulate the transport sector, which means that these private operators would necessarily come under regulation, which is not the case now. Today, there's quite a bit of gap in that space. There's no agency of state that is fairly responsible for the way they put the operations together. And that is about to change with the new mandate of the authority. So these operators, close to about 95% of them are privately owned. If you take out STC and MMT, about 95% of transport operations on our roads are privately owned. And in any serious minded society, they have to be regulated. And that is what is going to happen. So they would have to operate based on permits. Permits would have to be granted based on conditions and certain guidelines. And if we do not feel right based on these conditions that operations are safety oriented or minded, the appropriate sanctions that will be allowed by law would have to be applied for public safety reasons. So we've started the conversation with the operators.
With bated breath, we continue to commute on our roads in hopes that we reach our destinations in one piece. But the responsibility lies on both you and I to make sure that Ghana's roads are as safe as they can be. Reporting for Citi News, my name is Ni Ama.